bit of a leap. I'm going to use that terminology every now and then when we start a new lesson. Do you know what I mean when I say it's a little bit of a leap? Raise your hand. What do you think that means? Nick?
Like it's a little bit like farther into like ratios.
All right, delves a little bit further into ratios. What else? Jordan?
Harder.
Yeah, it's a little bit more difficult. Some of you will get it right away and say, oh, this is not difficult. I got this. And some of you are going to need more practice with it. And you had a little bit of a sneak preview of it on Friday anyway, when you had to figure out how much there were of certain things based on the total and what we call a difference. Okay, now I have to tell you, period 2 did a very, very nice job on it. And it went really, really well. But if there's something that I do up here and you don't understand it, raise your hand and I'll go over it again with you. Okay? All right, that being said, let's turn to page 2. And the first thing that you'll notice right away is that the word problems are a little bit longer. So I'm going to ask you to do, read it quietly to yourself. Don't do anything yet, just read it. And then when you're done reading it, look at me so I know that you're done. All right, so the first thing I'm going to ask you guys to do, what can we underline from this word problem that is information that we're going to need? And by the way, have you ever heard of the DMV? It's called the Department of Motor Vehicles. Let me give you a little background information of what you need to do when you purchase a car. When you get a car, or your parents get a car, besides having to need to get a license and get it insured and get it inspected, you also need to get it registered. You got to go down to the Department of Motor Vehicles and get the car registered, because the DMV needs to get an idea of what types of cars are on their roads. All right, so that's a little background information. So it says the county superintendent of highways is interested in the numbers of different types of vehicles that regularly travel within his county. In the month of August, a total of 192 registrations were purchased for passenger cars and pickup trucks at the local DMV. The DMV reported that in the month of August, for every 5 passenger cars registered, there were 7 pickup trucks registered. How many of each type of vehicle were registered in the county in the month of August? What can we underline that we need in order to figure out this ratio problem? Nick, give us one.
That DMV reported that in the month of August for every 5.
Okay, and that's good. And I'm just going to underline exactly what we need, okay? We need 5 passenger cars, 7 pickup trucks. What else do we need? Chris?
Total of 192 registrations.
Very good. I'm going to underline that. Anything else that we need? What about this? What are they asking us to find? Lee? I'm going to double underline that. I'd like you to do the same. We call those the VIPs, important points, very important points. The gist, like in ELA, you've heard the word of gist in ELA, get a feel for what, in ELA, what the piece is about. In math, the gist is more or less is what are they asking us to find? What is this question about? Okay, let's skip down to given ratio. From what we underline, what's our given ratio? Just got to be careful today when we toss this back because I'm mic'd up. Matt. All right, let's put that in. We're gonna solve it 2 ways. Tape diagram and TRF. In the end, you do what you like better, but I'm going to show you both strategies. You can also do an equivalency ratio table if the ratios don't get too big. the ratios get enormous, where you gotta have a lot of rows of your ratio table, it's probably not a good idea to use a ratio table. Okay, I'm gonna take my given ratio and put it next to my labels for passenger cars and pickup trucks. And then we're gonna make our boxes. So everybody do it. And always double check and make sure you've done the right amount. Sometimes I've seen some students do one too many boxes and sometimes one too little. Because it will make a difference. We need this to model out what we're going to do. Tape diagrams are all about finding the magic number. The number that goes inside the box, which is also called what? What did I teach you? The number inside the box is the what? Where's my frog at? Just give me a good throw. Lee. That's your constant. That's what goes in the box is your constant. So now we have to go back and read this. We've already taken care of the given ratio, 5 to 7. How many total registrations? What number do they give you for total registrations in August?
192 registrations.
That's telling you that all of these boxes, remember, a tape diagram's a model. All of these boxes have to add up to a total of what? How many total boxes are there in your tape diagram? Yeah, let me take my frog back. Okay, going to you. You got it. There's 12. Okay, go to the next page. We're going to maybe need to flip back and forth here, but it is what it is. Now we take that 12 and make a little arrow because this is a reminder that's the number of boxes in the tape diagram. And we've got to figure out by using division to figure out what the value of each box is worth, the magic number. What was the total number of registrations again? 192. And write out that that 192 is coming from the word problem. So the outside of the house is the number of boxes in the tape diagram. And the number inside the box comes from the actual word problem itself. And they don't give you a whole lot of room here, but go through long division and get me the magic number. What'd you get, Mikey? How many got 16? Awesome. Great job. A little hint, a little secret, a little trick. At least for now, the magic number should be a whole number. You should not have a remainder. It shouldn't work out to be a fraction. Eventually, when we move through ratios, you might get numbers there that are not whole numbers, but for now, it's going to work out evenly when you do long division. It's much easier. And if it doesn't work out evenly, you're doing something wrong. 16 is correct. That's the magic number. Go back and put it in every single box because now you're home free. I always say once you find that magic number, the rest becomes easy. It should become easy. Now at this point we want to go and revisit the question to see what it is they're asking. They want to know how many of each type were registered in the month of August. Sometimes they'll only ask you one, but they want both in this case. So what do you need to do, and I've got to flip back to the end here, in order to figure out how much of each? What do I have to first do for passenger cars? Where's my frog? I already went with you. Let me go with Dill. All right, what do I got to do, Dill? Take me home. 16 times 5 for passenger cars. I'm going to expose you to a new symbol. How many had Mr. Klee last year? Did he expose you to the dot? No? Raise your hand if you've seen the dot before. What is the dot? What operation is that? Timothy. It means to multiply. Got another question for you. Why do we no longer use the x to mean multiply, especially in 6th grade? You won't see it in 7th grade, 8th grade, 9th grade. You won't see it anymore. Why?
Because it's quicker to use.
True, it is quicker to make a dot than it is an x, but that's not the reason. I forgot your name. Sophia.
Because when you have a missing number, you use like a letter to like symbolize it.
Do you know what that's called? A letter to represent a number.
Yes, I forgot.
All right, well, I'm going to give you a candy because I'll expand on that. A letter representing a number, there's a mathematical name for that.
A variable.
It's called a variable, okay? So the letter X is often used to mean a missing number or a number that can change. When we get into algebra, which is really not till Mod 4, we will be using the X quite often, and you won't see the multiplication symbol at all. You may still see it on review sheets, but I want to expose you to the dot from here on out. When you make it, it's a little bit larger than a decimal point, and you've got to put it in between the two numbers, not towards the bottom. Otherwise, it looks like 16.5. Dylan, take it on home. 16 times what for pickup tricks? Pickup trucks. All right, do the math. Tell me what you get. Somebody. Where's my frog? Nice throw. I'll let you guys do it, and then I'll come back and I'll get an answer from you. Joe, you ready? 16 times 5, what'd you get? What about 16 times 7? How many got 80 and 112? Congratulations, you just did your first ratio problem using total. How can you check this? Besides using, I'm going to show you TRF here in a minute, but how can you double check to make sure that 80 and 112 are the correct numbers you should be getting for each vehicle? Nick? Something even simpler than that. I'll go back to you. Not in this case, no. Nick Mathis? What should I add? What should I get? Right, when you've broken it down to 80 and 112, remember they told you the total is 192. So when you add the actual number of each vehicle together, it should match up with what they give you in the word problem, and it does. Okay, let me show it to you using TRF. It is shorter, but it's not as visual, so you leave it up to you what works best for you. Here's how it works. You still have to make your labels. You are comparing cars to trucks, so no matter what, you need to start with that. And I want you to write it out as is for right now. You may need to go back to this page and see, okay, our given ratio is 5 to 7. They're asking for total. So remember, you normally would have done 5 boxes and 7 boxes if this was a tape diagram. So now all you're doing is just adding 5 and 7 together. What do you get? 12. This is from the ratio added into what? 192, which comes from the word problem. Let me scroll this up so you can see it. Squeezing it in there. Now watch what happens here. Since we already kind of know what the answer is, let's just rewrite it. It's 16. Magic number in the tape diagram, constant when we make our equivalent ratio. Everybody see how I utilize that 16? You're making an equivalent ratio for 5 to 7, which becomes our 80 to 112. 5 to 7 and 80 to 112 are equivalent ratios with a constant of 16. And where's my frog at? I'll take it. Okay. Next question. Same theme, same thing dealing with cars, but a totally different question. Same thing. Read it quietly and I'll call you up to the board and you're going to underline the VIPs for us. Who would like to come up and underline key pieces of information for us that we need? Steven, come on up, bud. Hold on, let me make your finger magical. Give me your finger. All right, use your finger to highlight. Careful, it wears out over time. Highlight it, don't underline it. Actually, believe your finger is a highlighter. Go right over the letters. Keep going. Holy, use your knuckle, it slides better. Keep going. One knuckle. There you go. All right, good. 14 to 5 is good. What else? Come on, up here. Keep going. I'm going to explain why. Keep going. Keep going. Normally what we would want to do is underline the question they're asking, but you could stay with a highlighter. All right, good. Have a seat. I want you to do me one more other favor. I want you to put a box around 2 words for me. And the boxes are more and then. Different type of question. But let's first start by making our tape diagram, and then I'm going to show you how it's different. Because there's so many boxes, they give you a head start. 14 boxes for non-commercial and 5 boxes for commercial. Does anybody raise your hand? Do you know what a commercial vehicle is? Forgot your name. Jake. Anderson.
Vans, buses.
More than that, though. Do you know it's because I can have a van or a bus and it could still not be considered a commercial vehicle.
Like a Walgreens truck, like a Peapod.
Right, it's got to be a business-owned vehicle. Usually the ones that have writing, business writing on the side, those are commercial vehicles. So you could drive a van around. If there's no writing on it, it's a regular non-commercial van. If it's a business-owned van and it has advertising and phone numbers on it, that's a commercial vehicle. Let's go back and look. A little different. They tell you there's 108 more non-commercial vehicles than commercial vehicles. Do they tell you the total amount of vehicles in the word problem? Lee, do they tell you? They do not. This is what's called a difference type question. How do we know that they're asking or giving you a difference? What are the keywords to indicate it's a difference and not a total? Matt. More and then. Those are your keywords. Watch what we're going to do. The first thing that we're going to do, we've already kind of answered this. The words more and then are the keywords. When you see that, it's a difference type problem. Remember that our boxes for tape diagram, it's a model. So the first thing that you want to do is, well, look back at your tape diagram. How many more boxes are there for non-commercial vehicles than commercial vehicles? How many more boxes are there? Angelina. Okay, so therefore, how many more boxes are there for non-commercial? There's 9. We're going to need that number. If it was a total, I'd want to add up all the boxes. They're not asking us for the total. They're asking us the difference between the two vehicles. Now I'm going to take that 9. I'm going to look, remember this is from our tape diagram. I want to look back at the problem now, and in the actual problem itself, how many more non-commercial vehicles are there according to the actual word problem? You know? Look back, read the problem because you already highlighted it. That's the reason why we highlight it. So that last piece of information, guys, if we go back, we've already taken care of this. There's another number there that we need. Where's my frog at? Going to Val. 108. And that's coming from the problem itself. You now have what you need to find the magic number. So let's do it, everybody. Give me a number. If I don't keep track of what that frog is, I lose it every single time. TFR.
12.
Everybody get 12? Guess what? That's the magic number. You're home free. Put it in every box. I know there's a lot of boxes, but do it. Now you're right back to what you did in the previous example. Do you want to know how much of each? $12 is my constant. 12 times what for non-commercial? Caitlin. Wah wah. 12 times what for commercial? Anybody have an answer for 12 times 14 yet? Steven,
168.
168 sound about right? 60 for 12 times 5? Question for you. If I subtract these two numbers, what am I supposed to get? Chris?
108.
Do I get 108? So now I know my ratio is good. Here it is as TRF. Make your template. Commercial, non-commercial. I think non-commercial's on top, right? Forgot. Yes. Given ratio was what? Shout it out because we're running out of time. All right, hold off for a minute. I'm going to tell you what your homework is. Open up to your agendas. Okay. Watch what I'm going to do. Quiz on Friday is going to be for everybody. So I need you to write this down. Same thing as 1-2. But your homework is going to be a little bit different than 1-2 because they had a double period. I want you to try 2 problems tonight in addition to this knowing about this quiz. I want you to do page, tell you here in a minute. Basically, it's the next 2 pages after the examples I just did. I want you to do page, hold on, 6 and 7. Are we clear? All right, have a great day.